And for what we've seen, unless you're playing college ball out in Lincoln, Nebraska, 3 running backs equals no running backs. That's what we mostly see from some of the teams that Norristown plays. And Norristown always comes with a great one-back offense. Well, it's a 2-back offense, but they have the one tailback and they have the fullback, a more traditional power running game. Upper Dublin seems to have that one feature back as well. And if you look throughout Suburban 1 leagues, that's where the strength comes from. Really, the one running backs, Picciotti, Swittenberg, Highkeat, Johnson. Now, of course, it's easy when you have a star like that to just hand him the ball, but those are the guys who are successful, and you can build your offense and your offensive line around a player like that. Upper Dublin seems to have one, though not as big as the guys I just mentioned in Monty Jesse.
And of course, you talk about that 3 running backs equals no running backs sometimes. We saw that 2 weeks ago when Norristown shut out Penridge 29-0. Not really one guy in the backfield that was the star. Jason Rhodes appeared to be the guy who could have been, but no real star in the backfield.
And Rhodes was a versatile guy who you could throw to as well. And probably Penridge in hindsight didn't quite do enough of that. But it looks like they're going to try and get Jesse the ball in places that are advantageous to him.
So we're going the other way now as we start the second quarter. Furman, the punter, Edmonds and Stewart, the deep men once again. Good kick from Furman. He gets an Upper Dublin bounce. That ball will get to the 28-yard line. Upper Dublin has to be happy being in a scoreless tie after 1 quarter. Something that no team has been able to do this year.
In Norristown, certainly, we talked about their defense, which is ranked #1 in the state, just purely on points allowed. But Norristown's also getting 38 points per game to put them 18th in the state. So certainly both sides of the ball very, very strong. And you're never surprised to see that 0 on the visitor side. But yes, Upper Dublin must be satisfied right now to be in a scoreless tie.
Up the middle of the Swittenberg. He'll fight forward for a couple of yards. Well, what do you think that Norristown has to do to get Troy Swittenberg going, I guess, tonight? He's not getting the yards that we're accustomed to seeing him get.
Well, I think they just have to weaken the Upper Dublin defense a little bit. Right now, Upper Dublin is committed to that 8-man front. And Norristown, to their credit, trying to run on it. You have to do it, particularly on a night like this. As tough as running the ball is, throwing it is much, much harder. So Norristown's just trying to weaken that Upper Dublin defense so far. And they're going to stick with it. That's their bread and butter.
Swittenberg once again. Or no, I'm sorry, that's Stewart on the keeper. A good run right there from Audley Stewart. He got about 20 yards. Once again, fooled me. Good deception there from the quarterback and the running back. And Stewart with a first down. He appears to be the guy that Upper Dublin's really got no answer for.
Well, and that's what happens when you have to commit all your players to stopping one guy. And certainly Troy Swittenberg is worthy of it. But Norristown has a lot of weapons. And Audley Stewart running and throwing is probably their #2 weapon.
So we're past midfield with Stewart's run. Stewart, the pitch to Swittenberg. Blocking fell apart a little bit over there, but Swittenberg gets about 2 or 3 out of it, making something out of nothing. Well, all parts of the field, too, got over to that far sideline.
The play took a very long time to develop. It was a toss sweep over to that far side. There's a lot of room over there, but with that 8-man front, Upper Dublin strung it out very, very well. And on a toss sweep to Swittenberg, that's the best thing you can do. Is just string him out, string him out. But Upper Dublin also, to their credit, kept some people home because Troy Swittenberg will cut back. He's not the kind of guy who's going to reverse field a lot, but he will cut back and find that middle of the field. Upper Dublin had that closed down as well.
Give him 3 on the carry, 2nd and 7. Stewart back to pass, looking for Brian Gordon wide open. He's got himself a first down. He is wrapped up, but a nice play from Norristown. Stewart looked over that far sideline, came back to Brian Gordon. Another first down for Norristown.
and you spread the field. That's the fourth guy Norristown's gotten the ball to. Throw to Gordon, throw to Preet. And of course, Stewart and Swittenberg running the ball. And as Norristown sent everybody to that right side, decoyed Swittenberg over to the right side, sent James Edmonds long down the left side to clear out. And just a nice throw to the fullback, Brian Gordon.
Another first down for Norristown. Down to the 30-yard line. Stewart will keep it and run up the middle. Dives for a first down, and I believe he got it. Good run once again from Audley Stewart. He looked up, saw nothing, and tucked that ball away and ran up the middle and got the first down.
And that time, Swittenberg was out in front leading him.
Really impressive the way this Norristown offense is adapting to the conditions, really doing anything they can to move the ball, and that's what you have to do on a night like this, just any way possible.
And the ground is the safest way. Norristown is fortunate to have two guys who can make big plays on the ground. And as they weaken the defense, you'll see Swittenberg get more and more carries and more yards. They certainly won't go away from him, but Audley Stewart is more than a viable option.
Handoff is up the middle to Swittenberg, and he'll get a couple. Like you said, Walt trying to pound away a little bit, that Upper Dublin defense. You got to think that maybe in the fourth quarter things, or even in the third quarter, things will start to open up.
And that's why you stay with it, because you have to think for the long term. Norristown is in a battle right now, a scoreless battle. But you do have to think about those third and fourth quarters, and Norristown has the kind of players who will wear down an opponent. And you keep going outside, then you come back inside with Swittenberg, and eventually something's going to open up. Norristown's showing that they're calling the right plays at the right time this year.
Stewart back to pass. He'll float one up. Hadrick with a good effort. Incomplete, however, to this near sideline. I've yet to see a team that could do anything very flashy, could put up 50 points in the rain. This is really a game that the coaches look at you before the game and say, it's going to be close. Let's just grind it and see what happens.
And the other thing is no mistakes, and both teams are doing a very nice job of that so far. It's tough for the offenses in a situation like this, so you don't want to give anybody anything that they don't earn. And Norristown, even when they've gone to the air, has gone with the safe play, and Upper Dublin the same thing after their first near interception.
So 8:24 left in this first half. 3rd and 10 for Norristown. There's going to be a delay of game penalty on Norristown. A little bit of confusion from the offense. They'll drive them back 5 yards.
And Norristown obviously was not happy with the play call that was just called and couldn't get it implemented. So immediately Trey Hadrick walked back and called timeout to make sure that they don't make any mistakes down on this end of the field.
Saw a flag come up in the air and then saw a couple of timeouts being called, and everybody seemed to have a different idea of what happened on that play.
It took the officials a while to finally wave things down, but Norristown, with all their timeouts, decided to use one right there and try and get the right play called.
While we have a chance tonight, we want to thank the Norristown Area School District for bringing you tonight's game. Our Director of Communications, Mr. Tony Koya, and our camera people tonight, Jocelyn Hadrick, and of course Garrett Hickman.
What about that Tony Koya? It's my second game now and I haven't seen him yet.
Well, unfortunately, he's come down with a little bit of the flu. He was not in school today. Well, last week he was just lazy, I guess. This week he has an excuse. Of course, the other producer we always have up here is Mr. Sam Galbraith. Both of those gentlemen do a fine job producing every event that Norristown Area School District puts together and puts on the cable access channel. Now on 3rd down, Stewart going deep to the end zone for Edmonds. Incomplete. I thought Edmonds had that ball. It looks like he was trying to stay in bounds and worry about a couple other things, and very tough play to make right there in the end zone. Well-delivered ball from Stewart, though.
I think that was it. It was beautifully thrown, and I think Edmonds got away with a little bit of a push-off. He would say just extending the arms, but looked like he just held the man off. He's tremendous at that. James Edmonds uses his size and his hands just like a professional receiver, especially down in that corner. He's fantastic. And that time it was right in his hands, but it looked like as he pulled his head away to look at that back of the end zone, ball just dropped to the ground.
Norristown going for it on 4th and 15. Too close to punt, too far to kick. They'll go to Edmonds in the corner. Incomplete, no flags down. Norristown will lose the ball on downs, excuse me. Lose possession on downs. I am mixing up my words tonight. Upper Dublin will get the ball back. Good stand right there from the Cardinals. The Eagles were really driving on them right there. Seemed to have them on their heels a little bit, but stood their ground.
Well, after that penalty, then Norristown was in a long yardage situation, and it was a very smart play call, trying to throw that long ball to Edmonds down into the corner. And as you said, situations dictated that the best play was to go for it on 4th down.
Handoff is to Jesse up the middle. Still not down. Now the referees will blow the whistle. He appears to get 2 or 3 on that play.
7 was holding on.
Good penetration from Norristown. They have not allowed Monty Jesse to break away. We talked about the conditions that the running backs were going to have to deal with tonight. Both of those running backs, who both had spectacular weeks last week. Swittenberg, not a great week, but over 100 yards is always pretty good.
And it was a winning week. Any winning week is a good week.
Right. 2nd down. Brandenburg's going to call a timeout. He didn't like what he saw. Smart play right there with 7:29. Have all 3 timeouts. Why not use one of them if you don't see something you like? I remind you to stay tuned at halftime for the homecoming, the wet homecoming events of our floats, and then the crowning of our homecoming king and queen. Homecoming on Friday night. Going back to a little bit of an older tradition, the last couple of years we've had it on Saturday afternoon. But there's a lot of people sitting here that were wishing it was a nice, bright, sunny Saturday afternoon right now.
Yeah, the conditions notwithstanding, I've always been partial to the Friday night homecoming. I think the Saturday brings a lot of people out for sure, but Friday night, I don't know, maybe it's tradition, but there's just something that feels right about the homecoming on a Friday night. Just seems to give it more of a party atmosphere. And the crowd is certainly not suffering because of the Friday night game. You know, it'd be nice to get back into those Thanksgiving Day 5,000, 10,000 people games where you needed the stands in the back of the end zone. And maybe dating myself here, but
what's scary is I remember being about 5 or 6 years old and coming to those games and sitting up near the booth, and look where I am now. Handoff goes up the middle to Jesse. He'll get about 4 or 5 yards. Established in the last couple of years, and of course coming back in this league, establishing games with local rivals like Upper Marion. But we've established that Plymouth Whitemarsh game. This is going to be the 3rd Thanksgiving game they've had in the past 3 years. Brandenburg back to pass. Look over to the far sideline. Ole Stewart, a nice job of covering right there. It'll be 4th down. Upper Dublin will punt away.
And Stewart got a great break on the ball, and I think that's what caused Brandenburg to overthrow it. He saw Ole Stewart coming, and that tends to make your throws a little bit high. And Ole Stewart certainly had nothing but green in front of him, so Brandenburg probably fortunate that time that the ball sailed.
If you're just joining us, folks, you haven't missed much. 0-0 scoreless tie. Both teams trying to get something started. Furman's punt. The line drive kick. Another good bounce. They'll roll out The far side's about the 42-yard line. Norristown once again with good field position. They'll try and get their offense going. You know they'd like to get some points on the board before halftime.
It's been back and forth, but you see Norristown beginning to win that field position battle. Now starting across their own 40. So Norristown's been working with the shorter field than Upper Dublin, and with two teams who appear to be evenly matched so far tonight, that's a big advantage.
The quick one up the middle right there. That was Swittenberg. He was lined up almost like a fullback on that play. Only one running back, and they were trying to get him a little bit of a head of steam and quick up the middle.
Upper Dublin's been closing it down so well, so Norristown decided to give Troy Swittenberg a little better chance to hit the hole a little bit more quickly. And the result was very positive. So good adjustments on the part of Norristown. And that's obviously what it's going to take to win this game with both teams playing so well.
2nd and 2. Swittenberg breaks it to the outside, and he is going to go for a touchdown. I didn't see him come out of that hole, but when I saw him, I knew he was gone. 6 points right there for Norristown. Great play call, 2 plays, and Norristown's up 6-0. I don't know if it was because he left me speechless, because I couldn't see him. I didn't know what was going on. Troy Swittenberg broke to the outside. Knew he had the ball, just didn't know exactly where he was. But a good play call there from Norristown to try and get him going.
And Brian Gordon sold it very well to fake around the outside. That held a couple of the Upper Dublin defenders, and that time Troy Swittenberg, 6 steps into the defensive backfield, bounced it to the outside, hit the corner, and he's gone.
Spicko on to try the extra point. Kick is up. And it's good. So Norristown takes a 7-0 lead with 5:46 left in this first half. Good round of applause from the fans as they appreciate the effort. Now this is what we're accustomed to, seeing Norristown with a lead.
And a lead on a big running play. And it just took a while, that's all. Norristown very, very patient. But it always comes back to the guys you know can move the ball for you. And with Upper Dublin's defense starting to worry about some other players a little bit more, that time Troy Swittenberg blew through a hole in the offensive line and just outran everyone to the end zone.
And you know teams aren't, you know coaches tell their teams don't read the papers, don't listen to anything you hear. But you know in the back of the Upper Dublin players' minds, they've got to be thinking, wow, this team has shut out 5 of the 6 teams they played this year. We're down 7-0. That can't be good.
Yeah, you do start to wonder as the game gets later and later and later, hey, they have to know the reputation of this Norristown team and the Norristown defense. They could be wondering, how are we going to put points on the board? I mean, they haven't really crossed midfield yet tonight.
Not going to see it on special teams probably, as this Norristown special teams, give them credit. They've done a nice job of keeping teams pinned in. They've also been on the field a lot with all the points that Norristown has scored. Spicko's kick is a line drive, bounces over the receiver's head. That's going to be a touchback. Probably the safest thing that could happen right there. Have to make the Bugs Bunny dog pile on the rabbit joke. If that had stayed at the lawn, we probably would have seen it.
The Upper Dublin fortunate that he had enough kick to get into that end zone. And Matt Spicko got a fortunate bounce off the turf as well.
So Upper Dublin will come out to the 20-yard line. First down, they'll keep 2 running backs in the backfield, and they'll pitch to Jesse to the outside. He tries to get out there. Does a nice job. Tackle on the sideline for number 3, Jamal Alford. Nice job of making sure Jesse didn't cut it upfield. But Upper Dublin gets a first down on the play. First down, they'll try the other side. Jesse tries to get to the outside. And there he is, number 50, Jameel Butler gets over there. The linebacker doing a nice job of making sure Jesse didn't get up the field.
And Norristown playing that 5-2 defense with only 2 linebackers. When one of them gets to the outside to knock a guy out of bounds, that's great pursuit. A lot of pressure is put on those Norristown linebackers to pursue from side to side, as the safeties traditionally play deep. So it's up to those linebackers when running backs get strung out to get over there and make the tackle. And Butler that time answered the call.
Made it look easy on that play. No gain for Jesse. 2nd and 10. Quick one over the middle. Appeared to be the receiver, number 81. It's Bobby Logano. Quick little one-step drop over the middle, and that's a first down.
And a great call by Upper Dublin that time, as Trey Hadrick was up tight on the line. So with the 2 corners isolated on the 2 receivers, Logano just ran a little inside route and a little bit behind him, but a nice job of turning, catching the ball, and keeping his feet to go straight down the field.
Tough. The slant is a tough play to defend when you're playing a 5-2. Right there, and a good call from Upper Dublin. Like you said, Walt Jesse will run up the middle. He fumbles the ball. Appears to have gotten it back, even have gotten a couple off of the fumble. Give him 8 on the carry, and Upper Dublin moving the ball on Norristown here late in the 2nd quarter.
And that pass play was a huge play because it really has to stun Norristown, if only for a brief moment. Now Jesse coming back with an 8-yard gain. But the big gainer really sort of starts to spread out such a tough defense, and you can do a few more things.
Handoff up the middle and get the first down. That's all they were looking for right there. So good ball possession right here, making sure they keep the ball. Don't want to give Norristown, don't want to give the ball back to Norristown late in the 2nd quarter. We saw them score with about 30 seconds left in that Penridge game a couple weeks ago. So they can strike at any time.
And that's really the sequence that put the game away for Norristown, turned it into from a tight game against 2 budding rivals, turned that kind of game right into a blowout, really, that went up 29-0. And with Penridge turning it over at the end of that half, Norristown came right back and scored quickly on a big pass play. So Upper Dublin certainly wants to be careful that something like that doesn't happen to them. I'm sure they're familiar with Norristown's big playability, as they just saw it about 3 minutes ago.
Upper Dublin to the 40-yard line of Norristown. Pitch outside to Jesse. Tries to get to the outside. He'll break upfield a little bit. Good gain right there from Monty Jesse. Give him about 5 on the carry. Upper Dublin line doing a nice job of stringing it out right there. We talked about that with Swindenberg earlier in the game. Upper Dublin executing right there.
Right, they are the kind of line that will hold their blocks. And Jesse, on that run, he really demonstrated how patient he is. So he's the kind of guy who knows how to use his blockers. And that's where you get your feature backs, when you have guys who know how to run the ball.
To Jesse once again. This time he will not get much. Might have gotten a yard, probably back to the line of scrimmage right there.
And on the counter play that time, Jesse starts right, then comes across the line of scrimmage to the left, but ran right into the heart of that Norristown defense with Jameel Butler and Mike Wilson there.
Now a big 3rd down play for Upper Dublin. They'd like to keep the ball moving. Norristown, of course, wants to put up a stop here, doesn't want to let them get any deeper. Are we in 2 down territory right here for Upper Dublin?
At 3rd and 4, we're nearing 2 minutes. I think so. They certainly will go for the first down here, but I don't think they would hesitate. And now that thing may change, because Upper Dublin has just been hit with a 5-yard delay of game penalty. So Brandenburg was a little slow in receiving the play that time, and it cost his team 5 yards. So now at 3rd and 9, Upper Dublin, I think we'll probably need another play.
Well, I have to say, Upper Dublin, we talked about how impressive they've been tonight. No mistakes, making sure they stay with their game plan. It's the first mistake we've seen, and that one may cost them to try and get any points on the board.
It just looked like they weren't aware, certainly with 2 timeouts left and 2 minutes to go. You can afford to use one. I'm sure they're saving them for when they get down closer, but that was a costly penalty.
So 3rd and 9, Brandenburg back to pass. Now he'll run. And good tackle from behind by number 7, Lou Samba, to make sure Brandenburg didn't get to the first down marker. He was the only man who had a chance really of keeping him from getting that first down. And now on 4th, they will go for it.
Brandenburg's not going to run a lot. He's a very big quarterback at 6'3", 205. Really towers over his line and the Norristown line. And you saw Samba just have to hang on to drag him down. A nice solo tackle. But Brandenburg's not very mobile.
So 4th and 3 here. Norristown defense wants to stop them right now with 1:12 left in the quarter. Brandenburg on the keeper. And he got the first down. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to give him the first down right there. He fell forward and got that yardage that he needed. Good call right there. And when you're 6'3", 205, it's pretty easy to fall forward and get that first down.
Not real mobile, but he's big, and that was a smart call. As the Norristown defense just opened up a little bit, and Brandenburg took advantage of it to squeeze out that first down.
Well, is this a situation that you work on in practice? 1 minute left, got to go 30 yards. This is something that Upper Dublin really has got to manage their time well. They took their 2nd timeout right now. So they have 1 left, they have 1 minute. Still a lot of time for them to put points on the board.
But the thing that Norristown can do is really concentrate on the main weapons for Upper Dublin, and those are the guys you've seen in this drive. Bobby Logano, by far their leading receiver with 23 catches for 342 yards this year. About 15 yards a carry, or a catch, excuse me. So they certainly have some big playability, and Logano's caught 3 TDs. And then, of course, Monty Jesse, who you've seen run the ball exclusively tonight, except for the couple times that Brandenburg's taken it. Jesse came into the game 909 yards, 7.1 per carry. So those are their 2 main threats. We haven't seen anyone even close to making any big plays, save for the 1 throw down the seam to the tight end tonight. But I don't think they're quite in tight end territory right now. Maybe they get inside that 10-yard line. You'll have to look for Furman receiving the ball. But right now it's going to be Logano and Jesse, and they're going to have to do it in 1:04.
Furman's a nice guy to block in there, too, once you get down deep. So now 1st down from the 29-yard line. 2 backs are in the backfield. Brandenburg drops back to pass. Good rush. Mike Wilson got him. Great play from Mike Wilson. Pursuit from his defensive end spot. That is a huge play by the senior defensive end right there.
And Wilson's so valuable coming off that end because he is very, very quick. Not your biggest defensive end, 175 pounds. But an end with speed like that is extremely valuable, especially in the 5-2. You don't need the size out there so much as you need the speed to contain the running backs and blitz, just like he did right there. And Norristown was not fooled. They knew all along that Brandenburg was going to throw the ball, and as soon as he dropped back off the line of scrimmage, Mike Wilson was coming.
So Upper Dublin calls their final timeout. That's really the one that kind of put them out of scoring range. It's amazing, this Norristown defense, 20 seconds ago before that play, they were thinking, wow, we may get scored on. 20 seconds later, there's no way.
Well, you don't put yourself against Norristown in situations where they know what you're going to do. In that case, it was a first down, so certainly Upper Dublin had all the options in the world. But Norristown guessed right that they were going to throw. And with 1:04 and Upper Dublin not really running the ball for huge gains, Norristown figured that they were going to throw. And then playing that 5-2, you can do some things against it, but it's also tough to block everybody on that line of scrimmage. Mike Wilson showed you right there.
Very importantly, that sack gets them driven back. It also makes them use their last timeout, so now they've got to work the ball. Jesse gets to the outside. He is fighting to break up the field, and he does. He'll cut it back inside, and he is going to go for a touchdown. Monty Jesse, unbelievably, got to the outside. I thought he was just going to try and get out of bounds and move the ball. He cut back inside, fooled the Norristown defenders, and there's 6 points right there, and all of a sudden this game could be tied.
Well, I don't think there's anybody on this field tonight who's going to try to get out of bounds. You're going to have to push these guys out, and that's what Norristown did not do. They looked like they were stringing Jesse out and just sort of stringing him to the sidelines. He danced right down the sidelines. You know, he's a small guy, low center of gravity, so he's tough to knock off his feet. You know, might be an easier tackle to bring to the ground, but he's really tough to knock off his feet unless you wrap him up. And that time, Jesse danced down the sidelines, and as James Edmonds, the deep safety for Norristown, came to the sideline to prepare for Jesse, Jesse just cut right back inside him and walked into the end zone.
The kick is blocked. So a big play right there. Keeps Norristown with the lead at 7-6, but it's amazing. We see points in that visitors block. Those lights haven't been used this year. We had to make sure the bulbs were still working.
Well, a talent like Jesse and a good system like Upper Dublin has can score against even the toughest defenses. And in that case, Upper Dublin, who's getting just over 22 points per game this year, used their weapon very effectively on its 2nd and 21. Norristown definitely playing in a bend but don't break. And as they tried to string Jesse out to the sideline, Monty Jesse was not giving up. So I think Norristown now will know coming into the second half that they have to pursue Jesse a little bit harder, because like their own guy in their own backfield, Jesse's a guy who won't give up on any run.
Well, you got that feeling when they scored that touchdown, Norristown did, that it was the beginning of the end for Upper Dublin. But you got to give those guys a lot of credit over on that far sideline. They came back out, put up a good 4 or 5 minute drive and said, we're not out of this game yet. And all of a sudden, they're right back in it. So 31 seconds now. Stewart and Swittenberg, the two deep men. Kick is on the ground. 4 Norristown players making sure that ball didn't get out of there. And then Norristown have the ball at the 36-yard line. 4 words come to mind: fall on the ball. Yeah, that's all that special teams was thinking about right there.
I'm almost back to my Keith Jackson impression. Like catching a grease pig in a rainstorm. I know that wasn't very good, but he's been away for 2 years. I haven't heard him, so I haven't been able to work on it much.
Oh, but we love to hear it, and it's definitely, he's definitely one of the greatest voices, and it's hard to imitate and get the real feel of it.
No doubt.
So now with 28 seconds left, Stewart will roll to this side. He's going to run the ball. He appears to have slipped for a first down, however. So they'll move the chains as Stewart almost got to midfield. He's about to the 48-yard line. We have a timeout called by Norristown and Coach Grove. Come out to talk to his troops on the field. 19 seconds, 50 yards. Never think that the quarter's over, and don't go and get that soda yet. May not, or excuse me, this may be a chance for Norristown to get some points on the board.
And you have a few options here. What you might look to is pick up maybe 10 more yards on the ground. You might look to Swittenberg. He could break one, of course. But if you get inside 40 yards, you always have that option of just throwing deep to James Edmonds. What can happen there is a pass interference call, some sort of penalty, which will get you another play. Or, of course, James Edmonds can always go up and get it. So you have that weapon, and I think Audley Stewart has the arm from about 40 to get it to the end zone. So Norristown with 19 seconds, probably looking at about 2 plays here and see if they can put something together to cover the 52.
They still do have the timeouts left, so those can be used within the last 19 seconds.
And Edmonds right now is isolated on this left side.
Stewart looking to him the whole time. Edmonds slipped as he tried to curl back. Ball's incomplete.
And actually they were not isolated on him. Had a safety up tight on him who went for the short coverage, and then had a man very deep. So Upper Dublin knowing where Norristown's best deep weapon was on the field and covering him well.
Time for probably 2 plays left in the second quarter. Stewart back once again. He'll throw it up over the middle to Hadrick. It's a first down play. And they'll call the timeout once again, but a first down. That ball over the middle is a good one to Hadrick. One of those ones that the receiver says, oh, I don't know if I want to go up for that one, but, you know, Norristown receivers always wanting to get to the ball, and Trey Hadrick doing a nice job of bringing that one down.
And it was thrown quickly enough that Hadrick could go up and get it and gather himself, get his feet on the ground, and brace himself for the hit, and actually was able to spin away and take a lot of the brunt off of that blow. And now they are right at the 40-yard line. So one play with 9 seconds to go. Norristown has worked themselves into a position where they certainly have the opportunity to put 6 more on the board.
Upper Dublin coach is telling their team, you can give up to 39 yards on this last play. Make sure you don't give up that 40th yard. Do not want to give up any points here. They've built the momentum. If we go in at 7-6, Upper Dublin obviously has got to be very confident that they can win this game. So with 9 seconds left, 1st and 10. Edmonds to this side, Ricky Preet is on the far side. They'll look to Preet, he'll make the catch. He's got to get out of bounds. And he did it with about maybe 2, looks like 1 second left. Norristown a chance for one last play.
So I think we called about 3 plays ago that there were going to be 2 plays left in this quarter, but Norristown has been very smart using the time that they had left on the clock and have worked it down with a couple plays now inside the 30-yard line.
In about 31 seconds, they've moved the ball 35 yards. Giving themselves a good chance for a nice 20 to 30-yard pass play to try and get into the end zone here.
Well, 20 won't do it. It's going to have to be 27 or more.
Stewart on the last play of the quarter eludes one man. He'll throw to the end zone. Throws it out of the back of the end zone, and that is the end of the first half. Norristown goes in with a 7-6 lead, but a bit of a shock here at Roosevelt Field. Upper Dublin keeping this game much closer than we expected. They're maybe slowing down this high-powered Norristown offense. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back in just a moment to bring you halftime homecoming activities.